ready for this.
From the stadium and light to Ellen Road we stand. Red and white meets a Yorkshire band. North meets north with a rival twist. We clash, we joke, you get the gist. Bridging the gap, it's the weekly show. Sunderland Leeds, let the banter flow. Two clubs, two hearts, but we still chat. Laughing and shouting where the football's at. Only fools in SAFC. And imagine not being Leeds. That's way.
Well, hey, what a weekend. Just before we start, I want to quickly play this song. You want Matty sing along? Laugh, no laugh.
Premier League. Laugh, no laugh.
Anyway, enough of that. How are you, mate? How are you?
Oh, I'm brilliant, mate. I had to sit back all weekend and watch everybody else play their games to kick off their campaign, and there were a few of these Premier League big boys that didn't do too well. Not to be worried about. And then Monday night at Ellen Road, mate, last night, unbelievable scenes. It was brilliant to be back in the big time, mate. And 3 points for us both. Couldn't have wished for a better weekend, really, pal.
Just keeps getting better, doesn't it? Like you say, what a weekend. The atmosphere there on Saturday was unbelievable. First year back, I don't know whether you see any of the clips or anything, but you think the Coventry atmosphere couldn't be topped, but honestly, when we scored the first goal, dear me, like it. But we'll touch on our game first because I'm on my channel and I'm just bringing and I'm pulling rank. So I don't know how much you've seen of our game. Did you see highlights? Did you watch any of it back? Have you seen the goals?
I watched the highlights. I watched the extended highlights. So yeah, seen a bit more than just the goals, but. Yeah, fantastic, mate, and the support of your fans is just incredible. Even I'm kind of falling in love. even I'm getting there way. But no, seriously, mate, it was great. I think West Ham, I don't think play particularly well, but I think in that second half, you were clinical with big chances there, and quite ironic how I feel like you signed 1 million players, but the 3 players have scored aren't new players, which are quite a mad one. But I'll let you take it off, mate. I thought you played brilliant in that second half, especially, mate. Played really well.
Just before we get into the game in detail, there's 57 people watching already, which is mad. Thank you very much for everybody tuning in already. If you don't mind, smash that like button as well. We always try and get 100 likes before the end of the show. We've smashed it, I think, the last 3 or 4 times we've done this. So if you can, smash the like button, get your comments in there. We'll get involved. We'll get you on and we'll discuss them. Just before we touch on the game in a bit more depth, and so in the comments, Ian Brown says, all right, everyone, Leeds got lucky with a cheap penalty, but probably did deserve to win a match overall. I'm sure Matty's got loads to say on that in a minute, a little bit later on.
Coming for you, Ian. Coming for you.
Lewis and Sunderland got lucky playing a West Ham team that didn't turn up. They are touche. D Hall, Leeds deserved the win. I think it was a pen. We'll touch on the pen a little bit later. Of course, it was a pen. Tarkowski knew exactly what he was doing by trying to be cute. Ian, West Ham lost one of their main stars in Kudos, who played a huge part. Probably a good shout. Marching on with Sean. Happy clappers are we? Too right we are. Doctor Who, people saying West Ham are shite, but don't speak of how we played. I'm going to touch on that in a little bit, which about the credit that we've getting. I don't think we're getting enough that we deserve. Steve SM68 says, if I was Tarkowski, I'd be fuming. He had his arm as far behind his body as he could. Homer's decision.
Aye. Marching
on with Sean, we was busy watching the paint dry, Wayne. Malcolm Donaldson wasn't a penalty at all. I think there's already you can see there's some.
It's a 50.
It's 50-50 in it. Congrats to Big Dan Ballard, player of the week. Yeah, had a cracking game. Marching on with Sean's back in again. You lean towards the ball and it hits your arm. It's a pen.
Yeah.
Black Cat says we needed 1 million players though, Matty. I think we'll touch on that. Probably did. Harvey 925 says Alderete looks a serious player. Wayne, that Lakimi will not walk into this team, even though the price of getting to go around for him. Aye. Tony Huntington, that was a lucky pen for Leeds, but glad they didn't hope. That's the two of us table steer certainly puts a bit more pressure on those that's even there a while. Aye. Tim the Minion, hello Tim, good mate of mine. Good evening, Matty and Wayne. Congrats to the Leeds United supporters for last night's result.
Cheers, Tim.
Rob SAFC, black bald fraud, couldn't even say a word. I don't know whether you've seen that about Mr. Shearer. It was I've done a TikTok about it. It's really funny.
Yeah.
John W, not too sure win, more like touchy. Oh. Ian Brown, any news on Lakumi? So I'll update us on Lukumi a little bit later because there's some news on that. SAFC surprise parties this season is Doctor Who. And Steve, to be honest, Red Mags, all 3 of your goals were gifts by the Leicester keeper. Absolutely.
Can I just say, Robbo's my mate, yeah. But oh my God, he's got a problem with you, Mackens. I don't know what it is.
The best that every time he comes on here,
he's a top guy, but wow, he don't like you guys.
He's here for the banter. He's here for the banter.
In a bit more, I think.
But I must admit, mind that goalkeeper was tight, so I'll admit that one. But so, Matty, like to say, the atmosphere on Saturday was before the game was unreal. Just everybody talking about us being back in the Premier League and how we're going to do, and how will West Ham fare, and are they a big team, are they not? And to be fair, the first half was a really, really nervy affair. West Ham were probably the better side as the half wore on. Hadn't been for Ballard, would have gone a goal down. Played one practically off the line. And it was kind of a bit of a wake-up call, I thought, in the first half, because even though West Ham are not a good side, and the fans were all moaning about the team that they picked, they controlled the game in the first half a bit. But second half was a completely different story. Absolutely completely different story. We kind of pushed further the pitch. Our full-backs pushed higher, stopped their wing-backs getting up. And what a difference. And once the first goal went in, they kind of just felt the bits. Absolutely felt the bits. And from there, we took control of the game.
Do you feel like, obviously, we'll touch on our game later on, but a bit similar to us? I think you played a 4-2-3-1 last season, didn't you? You had Lefebvre playing on left, even though he probably should be attacking mid. And now it looks like you're playing a 4-3-3, similar to us. So you had the 3 in midfield, Xhaka, Siddiqui, and Diarra. How did them 3 fare?
Well, at one stage, I thought there was 3 of Siddiqui on the pitch. He was absolutely everywhere. I think I've seen some stats today that our midfield 3 probably covered the most ground in the Premier League, like distance-wise. I think there's like between 12 and 11.5 kilometres each.
Wow.
Just unreal. The 3 of them in there. Xhaka just sat there, organising, pointing where everybody should be. Calm-head, never panicked, never flustered. And Diarra and Siddiqui just buzzed round him and getting forward. I mean,
so is Xhaka the deepest? Is Xhaka the deepest?
Xhaka just sitting, dictating the play.
Perfect.
And Diarra should have scored, really. He had a cracking chance in the first half. It was a good save by their keeper, but he should have scored. But from there, like I say, we just dominated from the last probably half an hour. There was only going to be us going to win the game. It was unreal. Absolutely unbelievable. And like I say, the atmosphere at the end, getting them 3 points, massive.
Mate, we both got a 12th man in our support. We felt that last night as well. Like, you can make it a fortress or as close to it as a fortress as it can be for a newly promoted side. We are gonna lose games at home, maybe a fair few more than we want to. But if we can get it as close to a fortress for a newly promoted side, it's going to be brilliant, because we have got a 12th man. And I'm sure you'll say, you will help push them towards that win, because we definitely felt that last night. Scraping a 1-0 win, although it was a battering, but that support from the stands for a club like ours, it's definitely as well. But I'm sure the players would all admit that too.
Aye. Back in the chats, Gary Hodge was well done last night, Matt. Rob SAFC, Red Mags, give him the banner, give him the banhammer. Stevie's in there. I'm warming to win a bit. Well, yeah.
Good.
I'll take a screenshot of that. Marching on with Sean, leave Robbo alone. Luke, hi folks, big up Matty, cheers for the link. MOT. John W's in there, iRobbo, and the all count. Ian Brown, must be Burnley important to maximise points early on and extend ourselves. I will touch on that one in a bit. Saturday means now if you didn't back that up. Colin Major, West Ham were not blowing bubbles on Saturday. If they were blowing them out their backsides. Steve Nolly Show, no one seemed to have picked up on the fact that it was not only original squad members that scored, but all new players with the assists show that the team is really starting to gel. Now, Matty, I know you we spoke about this off air, didn't you, about us changing our full 11, if you like. But the 3 goals were scored from 3 of our heroes from last season, which is quite ironic, really.
Well, it is. I was surprised to see Isidore get one. I'm a big Isidore fan, but I know he has been off the boil back end of last season. But I was speaking to Wayne off air, everyone, and I was sort of saying the way your squad's sort of shaping up on the side, you're still probably not finished. Maybe in a month's time, come other side international break, maybe your full starting 11 will be brand new players this season. There's still a chance that happens, although there's conversation that Ballard will stay in, and certain players potentially should keep the spot. But if you bring in Lukumi as well, is he going to be on bench instead of Ballard? I can't see it. So there's a possibility that you have a brand new 11, and it's a bit of a mad conversation because you want to be successful, you want to win your games. There's also a little bit of me that wants a bit of loyalty. We moan about players not being loyal. I was saying to Wayne, with you guys with Job, you were a bit annoyed that he's on a plane to Dortmund day after you get promoted, moaning, talking about loyalty and wanting players to be loyal to the badge. But then you've got a club who aren't really showing any of that first 11, any loyalty to keep playing and giving Premier League big minutes. I know they're going to be bench options and will get minutes. Chris Reed comes on towards the end, etc. But does it matter? Do you want your club to be ruthless? I do. But I'm quite liking what we've done, where we've still got 4 or 5 starters from that championship winning side. But I do also believe, no offense, but you guys had a lot more work to do than us. You're 24 points behind. For me, we probably do have 4 or 5 that can mix it in Prem. You potentially maybe didn't have that many. Job, he moved on. He probably would have been a mainstay. Maybe 1 or 2 more, maybe, that may get flushed out now. But it's a bit of an interesting conversation when I felt.
It is. I mean, like you've just said there, though, I think we had a lot more work to do than yous. And I think, like I said to you off air, that I think the players that we had probably are not good enough to play in the Premier League. The ones that we've replaced. My feelings on Roberts, not good enough. Dan Neil, I said, probably wasn't good enough to step up to the Premier League either. So the ones that we've brought in are a massive step up. And at the moment, I think Job wouldn't get in that side either. I don't think Job would be anywhere near it. I think that there'll be there's them 3 in midfield now. You've got Lafayette, who'll probably be in front of him as well. Rig might even be in front of him. So I don't think Job would have get in the team. So maybe he's knowing that. Maybe he's knowing that and thought, well, actually, there's this big rebuild going to happen.
And he's been a big part of the rebuild, the finances you've got for Job as well. I mean, I assume,
Well, that's it. When 30 million for Job, that then bought Siddiqui and,
exactly.
Diarra, pretty much. So, not Siddiqui for 30, like Siddiqui replaced him. So, I think that's the model that we've got. You're buying them for cheap, you're selling them on, and then you're reinvesting that in better players. So,
100%.
Steve SM says that midfield 3 will keep us up with an awesome mix of attributes. Gary Hoyle, big Dan Boller was a mint. He was tremendous.
Cracking player him.
Rob SCFC's went down the shop tonight and bumped into Siddiqui. The boy is everywhere.
I love that.
Marching on with Sean, I like Sunderland, to be fair. I always had a soft spot for them. More massive fan base and clubs in the Premier League, the better. I agree. 2 massive clubs together. Macam Revenge, Rob SCFC, pissed myself laughing. Boss Nass, evening boys.
Evening, Boss Nass.
Stevie Robinson, do you think you will beat Burnley? I would like to think so. Richie Befford, evening all. Wayne's in there. Wayne Hudson, how you mate? Wayne, how you Wayne and Matty? Ian Brown, considering a lot of the Leeds squad came from the Championship, they deserve a bit of credit from that. To be honest, I suppose you're right, but like you've just said there, I think you had probably 4 or 5 players of better quality than we had at the time. So, I mean, you never know. By the end of the international break, your new signings might all be playing, so it could balance itself out. But I think it's a difficult one for me because the signings we're going to make, I mean, we've signed this new right back from PSG, but the way Trey Holmes played, you can't really just put him straight in the team. We've paid 12 million quid for this fullback, McQuaid from PSG, but he's not going to walk straight in the team. Lakumi's another one that we're going to touch on there. Apparently, there was a 28 million euro release clause in his contract that expired, but then we've gone and bid the 28 million apparently today.
Are you sure I'm running 28? If he's worth 28, you sure you haven't spent 38 just to
38, I mean, and we spoke to him yesterday about Fatawa when 30 or million. I mean, that to me is crazy. That's a crazy one.
And then you messaged me and said, well, this talk of Harry Winks. I'm like, honestly, how many players do you need per position? Like, how many players per position do you need, Wayne? Seriously? Are you fucking Chelsea these days? I
think we're trying to win the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. Our 3 different teams. I think that's what we're trying to go for.
It's a madness, mate. It's a proper madness. But no, like I say, I do believe. Obviously, I'm fairly biased to Leeds, and I'm super positive, thinking we're looking up rather than down. I certainly think you are as well. Touching on the whole, it's been nice to sort of stick 2 fingers up at the media, as Leeds and Sunderland and other fan bases. And yeah, we're still getting shit. We're still getting told we'll go down. We're still getting told all this. I don't know whether you guys are, but we certainly are. But like when you look at, I just think it's really lazy journalism to just say, the sides that have come up are all going to go back down because that's what happens. And I've got a few notes here. So 3 years ago, 21-22, they all stayed up.
Yeah.
So that gap's massive apparently, but only 2 full seasons ago, 3 years ago, Fulham, Forest, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And look where all three of them sides are applying the trade now in the Premier League. European spots, in and around European spots, and they were Championship 3 years ago. So how big is the gap, right? Because Salah was still playing 3 years ago. All these players were still there 3 years ago. It's not like the Premier League's gone up another level in the last 3 years for me. 2022, 23, Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton go up. Luton were always going to go back down. They had no right being in Premier League. League One team. Sheffield United, yo-yo team. Burnley, yo-yo team. Is that a surprise they went up and came back down? No, is it heck? Last season, Leicester, lost Maresca, weak at season starting. Ipswich, again, no right to be in Premier League at first chance of asking. Southampton, Russell Martin, naive football, playing out from back, gonna go down. So please tell me how the last 2 seasons is a measuring stick for forever. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. I'd rather look 3 years ago and look at the sides that stayed up and look how well they're doing, as opposed to the tripe that has gone up and back down in the last 2 seasons. So I think it's been a right nice weekend to go. I tell you what, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. We're gonna give it a go, and we'll see how it develops, mate, as season goes on.
100%. Cracking stats and cracking comments, Matty. I totally agree. Like you say, it's just too easy for to see where the gap's too big, they'll go straight back down. I mean, it was nice. I watched your game last night, and afterwards I seen obviously Gary Neville and Carragher was speaking, and even they were saying, that it's not as easy that this season. It's so hard this year. We're saying, we predicted on our predictions that Wolves and Brentford would struggle, and look what happened yesterday on Saturday. They got battered. They got battered. So.
And you've got to think as well, they've got the momentum of having a poor season last season as well, where we're still sort of riding that crest of a wave, the buzz, you going up at Wembley, us with our parade. It's sort of, I know I touched on pre-season, but obviously it didn't matter to you guys that you'd had a poor pre-season, did it? So I was proven wrong on that one. But we've still got that momentum. It's still a feel-good factor. We've been at doldrums, and now it feels when we're down and out, and you guys know more than anyone. But it's a good feel-good play, buzz around the place. And you tend to get a feeling sometimes in the city, I think, when it's going. We had it under Bielsa. Obviously, it's not like that to that degree, but you have that feel, don't you, where you go into a game and you're not dreading it. As much as we love it, when you look on a games 2, 3, 4 years ago, where you're dreading going, thinking, going to get pumped today. You don't feel like that now, and I feel like there's just something changed in our sort of culture in our city. I think you're probably feeling it too, and because they don't live it, they don't breathe it. They're just seeing the lazy stat of 2 seasons, 6 have gone up, 6 have gone down, and I think when you look a little bit more into it, I think there's a lot more notion to be positive than negative for our fan bases. I think Burnley are done already. I don't see how they stay up. I think it's just in the name, Burnley. They are yo-yo, mate. They just go up and down. Everything, I think, what I would have liked to have happened this weekend is in, you guys and us has played out as I hoped. There's still a long way to go, don't get me wrong. But what a great way to start, and what a great way to sort of set that record straight that, we aren't here to take part. We're here to take over. That's how I see it, Wayne. That's how I see it.
And the thing is, like you say, them teams that got promoted, they didn't spend any money. And our Leicester spent quite a bit, but they lost, like you say, lost the manager, and it's like it's totally different. Totally different.
Ipswich spent a lot, mate, but the prep for going back down, they bought championship players.
They bought championship. They bought the best players in the championship. Well, I mean, that's that's what's that recipe for? A disaster. I think the money we've spent, I never ever thought I keep on saying, I never ever thought we'd be anywhere near. And we've now spent the most. We've now spent more than Nottingham Forest have spent. So if we don't stay up, we're going to be an absolute laughingstock. To be fair, if we didn't stay up now, the money we've spent, what I mean. That will probably highlight a gulf in quality if we do go back down, because you spend 170 million quid and still get relegated. Then what does that tell you? So I didn't know. It's a difficult one. But we'll never have a better chance of staying up. We'll give ourselves that chance now, which is all you can do.
I love how your owners back the manager. You've thrown everything. Like I said, if you don't stay up, you can't really do much more, really, in terms. The signings you brought in, I think they're cracking signings as well. Like I say, we can argue over odd £1 million we think you paid too much, or odd £1 million we think that have been worth, or whatever. But I would say, looking at your squad now, your starting 11, it doesn't look like a side that's going to be in a relegation fight. I'm not saying it's going to look. It don't look like top 10 either, but it looks. You look at other sides, and for me now, there's an argument that you've got a better side than Brentford. You've got a better side than Wolves. Yeah, they might have 2 or 3 that are stand out, but how good's that squad? Looking at Everton, you'll be the same looking at West Ham side. Bowen. You've got a few that stand out. You've also got 3 or 4 that you probably wouldn't have in your team, Wayne. You know, we're not talking about the top 8. You know, top 8 are maybe in another league on their own, but outside the 8, we were saying yesterday coming out of ground, I wouldn't be surprised if Everton finished 9th or 19th. There's 11, 12 teams where you just can't call it, Wayne. You cannot call it. And we're in that bracket. We're in that mix for me. We're not just in the bottom 3, bottom 4. We're in that top. We're in that bottom 10.
We're competing with them all, but the fact is that we're still. I mean, we are still second favourites to get relegated. I think we're something like 8 to 13, which I find. I mean, yeah, and I would have promoted a team, but I still find that staggering that they've got it that clear cut. Like, there's about 4, like you say, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams down there that could easily get relegated this season. Easily.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. I think there's going to be a couple of shocks, mate, potentially. Going to be a couple of shocks.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Stevie Robinson says, to be honest, I'm a bit jealous of your 45,000 signings. Matt and Revenge. Hey, Tricia, I hope you're all right. So, evening, Wayne and Matty. Gary Hoyle, who was most impressed of your new signings, Matt?
Anton Stack by an absolute country mile. I am joking when I say he's going to be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League this season. In the Premier League, he's unbelievable. Win just because he plays for Leeds United, just because he was 17 million quid. People will laugh at that, but I'm telling you now, he is top draw. He wouldn't look out of place playing for City. No lie. You'll see him. You'll see him enough this season.
Same last night. I thought he was heading shoulders above anybody last night. I thought he was
unreal.
Head and shoulders above anybody else. I thought he was just you ran the midfield for me last night. Him
6'6", and look how he plays with ball at his feet. He's unbelievable, mate. Such a talent.
Right. Dan wouldn't have been if we didn't win. Marching on with Sean. That's just the last month, Robbo. I reckon we'll reach that 200 million mark. Sure, you don't go down with that. Well, there's no guarantees, but you would think
that's wild. That way.
It's mad, absolutely mad.
You were splitting hairs. You would think they'd be splitting hairs over a couple of quid a few months ago, thinking they're not going to spend out, and the 200 million quid coming up. But
I mean, think we'll be getting like Ashley Barnes on loan and that sort of, you know what I mean? And that sort of players, but unbelievable, unbelievable. Yeah, but I'm going to show the goals here. So the first goal, we had Jensen Seals back in the side yesterday on Saturday. Sorry, unfortunately got injured. But that then paved the way for our new centre half, which was Alderete came on. I tell you what, within about 2 minutes, he looks a fan's favourite. Really, he looks an absolute Rolls Royce of a centre half, and you'll see, he actually sets up the first goal.
Class.
I mean, great cross, Matty.
Alderete.
The right ball, that innit?
Decent ball in. Header down is in.
What is it with your guys doing headers that take about 15 minutes to go in?
Like, it was one of them, you know, when you felt like half an hour, it just felt like, and then bounced and went in. But great header right in the corner, you know. And our people were criticising the keeper, but probably unsavable where it went.
I think so, yeah.
When you look at the other angle, it looks like hit him in the face. But they all count.
It's a decent ball in that way. That's a cracking cross. And what has he just come on cold there? He's not been on too long.
He's been on about 3 or 4 minutes.
Class.
I think he come on in the 55th minute, and that was the 61st minute was scored. So hell of a. But this one's even better. This one.
You ain't saving them, mate.
Two great crosses, didn't save that. 2 great crosses, you know, and from 2 of our new signings. So Dingo with that one, and then obviously Alderete with the first one. So great start. And then at the end, obviously we get a breakaway. But this one, I do blame the keeper for this one. The keeper was fist packed hands. I would call him for this.
He needed that though, didn't he? He needed that though, mate. If you wanted, anyone to score, getting a striker or Mayenda getting his, or you want those strikers scoring goals, don't you? So fair play.
I mean, that's it. That's exactly what I was saying. To get our 2 strikers off the mark in the first game, you couldn't have wished for anything better.
No, you couldn't.
That's exactly what you want, to get them a bit of confidence. I mean, Mayenda had a really poor pre-season. Mayenda hardly played because of injury. So to get them on and get them firing, I'm absolutely buzzing.
No, 100%. Can I just say this? I've just seen there's 130 people watching Winch's class. You've got 55 likes. Can we get those likes up, please? Try and smash the 100 barrier today. That will be brilliant for Wayne. Sets the algorithm going and all that. Don't ask me to spell it. I ain't got a clue.
And all that stuff. You know what you mean. Anyway, Rich Bedford. I'm a Leeds fan. I think both us and Sunderland will stay up. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Boss Nass, I hope Sean lad need another potato delivery when we. Do you mean? Black Cats, I get what you mean, Matty. I'm torn with it too, but sentiment probably gets us relegated. I think that's what I'd kind of said to you. Do you go with your heart or your head, and sometimes you have to be ruthless. Yes, I know it's nice. It would be nice to have some of these homegrown players in the team, but if they're not good enough, then they're not good enough. Doesn't matter where they're from.
I'd say you've got a couple though. Like I'm not saying like 5, 6 days, but I'm saying like if Trey Hume stayed in the right back, that wouldn't be ridiculous. If Ballard stayed at centre half, that wouldn't be ridiculous. And maybe if Isidore and Mayenda stays playing up top, which they may do, yeah. He's not saying that guy he's going to replace them, but maybe 3 or 4 maybe are good enough. But I do think give it a month or two. I do expect a full 11 change in your side, and it's probably enough, mate. To be fair, you'll stay up with that, I think.
I mean, me personally, I wouldn't like Hume and Ballard. I wouldn't be changing them at all. Not now. Not now. Them two's got to be coming in and fight for the place. But the luxury is now you've got a strong bench, and if you get injuries, and maybe this has got something to do with AFCON as well, Matty. We're going to lose 70 players, or potentially 70 in December. So maybe we're now going to have that cover if we lose them players.
Yeah.
To be fair, Leeds wanted some of their Prem players after coming down. Sunderland didn't have that luxury. Yeah. Matty, do you think Sunderland will beat Burnley, putting you on the spot?
Yeah. Bloody hell, of course. I think I'd beat Burnley on my own as well. Like, so yeah, 100%. I think to be fair, I think you'll batter them. I do. I think they've had the worst possible start. 3-0 loss, wasn't it? To be expected, decent opposition they were playing, but yeah, I think you'll be flying into that one. I think you'll win by a couple of goals at least, but yeah.
But we're okay on saying we'll probably do with Sunderland. It'll be a cracking result.
I know.
And get beat.
I know, but yeah, that is. I know it's away, which any away game in Prem just feels a lot tougher, doesn't it? Even going to Burnley, it's still it should be the most winnable away game this season for you, Wayne. But because it's away, you never know. I don't know, Turf Moor were a good place for them last year, but conceding 3 when that were their staple last season, we're not conceding goals, and they've had that much change at back. If they're not going to score, if they're not going to keep clean sheets, mate, they're not going to score enough goals to stay up anyway. No. So that was the only way you could see them doing something, is if they kept that big fat 0. But it ain't going to happen this season.
Nah, I'll be very surprised. Steve S. M says, I still think Leeds need 2 or 3 signings. It's the squad with injury, suspensions, and I don't believe that without the penalty they'll hurt many teams. Just my opinion. Hope we both stay up. Mackem Revenge, Jason Darling, I hope us and Leeds stay up. It will be a middle finger to all the sceptics. Totally agree. Everybody expects us to go down.
Yeah.
I mean, even Gary Neville said last night that it can't go on. The 3 getting promoted to come down because it's hurting the game.
Yeah, and nobody wants it.
Nobody wants that. No. Harvey925, Matty, mate, got a question. I'm a fan of the channel as a Mackem. Do you think you have a better team than us still, even though we have spent 160 million since we last played?
Yes, I would say right now, yes. The proof will be in the pudding. Give it a month or so and ask me again, Harvey. I think we've got that cohesion. We've got player sort of relationships, like Bogle and James up right. And I think Goodmanson looked really good. We're not on left, but we've brought a lot of new players in. But even last night, you saw Strauch and Rodon, who's been a centre-half pairing, bar injury for the last 2 seasons. That relationship's really good. I just think because we haven't changed as much. I think right now, I mean, if we were to play you tomorrow, I'd back us to win. You'd probably do the same. But I think give it a month or so and we'll see. If your players gel, I think you've got a really good squad way beyond bottom 3, bottom 4, bottom 5, as we tipped for. But it's an hard question because you've spent more money, but that doesn't always mean, it's going to work and you've got better players than others. But what I'll say is I'm a bit envious of some of your deals. Not some other ones, which are probably the same for everyone, but I think you've built a really good side. So I can give you credit for that, but 100%.
I mean, the positives for me is that cracking second half that we had on Saturday, in that first game, they're only going to get better the more they play together, which is a positive sign for me. So well, that's what I'm hoping. Fred Holmes, are you Fred? Christinus Uchi is the next midfielder on the cards, Wayne. So we'll keep on being linked. We'll keep on getting linked with players, and I'm like, where they're all going to go? They're going to need a bigger team books and a bigger stadium. It's like gone the opposite way.
You have an A and a B side of this way.
And the C side the way we're going. Tony Hilton's spot on, Matty. I think the last 2 seasons will help us both as teams are underestimating us. I think you're right. 100%. Stevie says, getting promoted like you lot, no way that I think you would spend anywhere near what you have. It's making me really nervous, to be honest. It must be close to PSR. I don't know. I see this PSR is complicated. It's not isn't it? Well, I think we're about 9. We're about net 100 million now or something we are. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think the
my worry would be if you were to get relegated. I mean, I don't know repercussions. I aren't massively bothered about PSR. I'm no accountant. I don't really give a shit. I like watching football. I aren't bothered about all numbers. But you would assume if you were to get relegated, there's going to be. You wouldn't assume you go down, everything's fine, and everyone stays and everyone plays, and you come back up. That ain't going to happen. There'd be some massive repercussions. But I don't see that happening now. But that is the gamble you've done. I mean, could it be financial ruin if you went down? I'm not too sure how it'd work. But that'd be in the back of my head if we'd spent to that sort of level. But like I say, I think you can be clear of that anyway. So yeah, they're looking up and down, man, 100%.
I think so. I mean, without wanting to get ahead of ourselves, you cannot just base it on one result. But it's positive signs and it's a positive start. But just before we touch on your game, I just thought, we weren't given the credit we deserved. All the pundits at the weekend, well, the ones that spoke, that is, Mr. Rooney and what have you, it was all about how bad West Ham were and not how good we played. That really boils my piss when you didn't get the credit what you deserve. What you deserve. Nobody gave us the credit. It was all about West Ham are shite and West Ham have lost this and West Ham have done that, and not like Sunderland did well. Sunderland played well.
I think because he scored 3, the goal for the scoreline was so vast. It was easy to turn around and say, well, West Ham was so poor conceding 3 goals. If you'd won 1-0 in game state, it'd have been the same. Probably you'd have got maybe a bit more credit. But like I say, you can only play what's in front of you. They've got a handful of players you snap their hand off, or they've got some who wouldn't, like I said earlier. But someone like Bowen, got to be on your guard all game for him because he is a top player. And to be fair, West Ham are lucky to have a player like Bowen. I mean, he could be playing for any team in Premier. He's that good. But yeah, I mean, West Ham, I do think we're mixing it with them. I think they're someone who could get dragged down the division. I do, but they're not a yo-yo team. They're an established Premier League team. Their bench has players worth 10, 15, 20 million plus. They have got players in there who are decent. And like I say, to not only beat them, Wayne, but to actually spank them 3-0, I don't get how you can't put credit on your name and put some on your name for that, because look at that. I mean, look at the vibe in the stadium. I don't say you can walk away and not speak about Sunderland. To go to that game or watch that game and only really talk about West Ham when you're in a stadium with 50,000 Mackhams losing their nut, all singing Elvis Presley song at end altogether after winning 3-0, clean sheet. How are you not talking about Sunderland? Exactly. This is that Premier League biased. It's that we don't want these teams, and I don't know why. We are proper Premier League sides. We are. People do want us, but I do get this notion that they just want a closed door really and just have.
Fixed league.
I think so. I think anyone who's not been in it consecutively for the last 10, 15, 20 years, shut door and we'll stay where we are, because, like I say, how you cannot just talk solely about Sunderland after that performance, I don't get it, mate. I'm with you on that.
Frustrating, mate, but like you say, let's hope we can get on a bit of a run now and people might start taking notice. That's what I hope, but I don't know. Like you say, we've just got to keep on doing what we're doing. If people want to talk about us, they want to talk about us. If they don't, it's probably better for us. The more the bigger up, the harder it's to follow.
There's probably not enough space in articles and news feeds to talk about Sunderland's football because it's taken up with Sunderland's transfer business. You can't have all fucking sports news, pal. You know what I mean? You can't have front pages, not back pages.
Right, just once his camera send Gooey back now. We don't need him. Macklin Revenge, I embrace. They need to score to lift their game. Robin Hood, that's their keeper. Steams from the richest gift of the poor. I mean, like they spent 20 million on that to Madsen, and he was poor with Leicester last season. I thought, poor silence.
I don't rate him.
Gary Hoyle, Arsenal must regret letting Ballard go now when he's a Colossus. I mean, he's been class. Just keeping him fit. That's the only thing.
Did he come through at Arsenal, Ballard?
He was Arsenal. He was Arsenal. He was at Arsenal reserves. That's where we got him from.
Fair enough.
Right, we'll touch on your game now, Matty. Then we've and the first thing I'm going to put up when I find it. Now then, this is what has caused the 50-50 split. I've been listening to this all day. There's that many people say it's a penalty, that many people say it's not. Obviously, you're going to say it's a penalty.
Of course. First thing I'll say, when if you've been listening and watching this all day, get a life, pal. You know what I mean? No, seriously.
I have been to work, I might add. I have been to work.
He's been getting outdone, his gaffers. Listen to him, been watching this all day. But obviously, I was in the stadium So from where I were, I couldn't see the big screen. I was in the gods, so I couldn't see the incident. I couldn't even see the screen for the whole VAR. So when you can't see the VAR and you can't see the decision, the incident, you're in no man's land for a couple of minutes, which was stressful. First game back in Premier League. Oh, we've got a penalty. 2 minutes of not knowing, not being able to see replay. A couple of messages come from one group. Very biased, I think. Stonewall, it should be a red card and all this on group chat, which I wasn't too sure it was a red card, but. Yeah, for me, it's one of them. If it goes against you, you'll feel hard done by. If it goes for you, you won't give a shit. I don't care. We deserve the win. 1-0 loss flat at Everton for me. What I'll say is on that is I feel like he has put his arm behind his back and it is down. It's not out. So I sort of get where Tarkowski is coming from. But right at the very last millisecond, it looks like he leans into it. If he doesn't make that extra adjustment, maybe ball goes past him and it's on target and then maybe it goes in. Or for me, he probably saves it. But you never know. And for me, I think he knows what he was doing there. He knows it's come a long distance as well, mate. It's come a long way. It's not like it's a 3 or 4 yarder. So the fact it's come with that distance and then the very last second it's caught his arm. But it's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is.
I'd say it's a pen.
He's trying to get that arm behind his back. So
wait a minute, what's happened? What's happened?
I mean, for me,
that wasn't meant to happen. Technical issues. Right, try again. There you go.
Ivan Toney 2.0. It looks like Ivan Toney. I'm just looking at him all game thinking it just looks like Ivan Toney.
Right, I think you're right. That movement.
It's that last bit. And don't get me wrong, he's sort of falling over, but for me, it's just that last bit there. Like, yeah.
Do you know when I first saw it, I thought that it was never a penalty. I thought like that's never ever a penalty. But then when you see it slow down, and like you see it doesn't matter if you go his arm behind his back. It's that dip towards the ball at the last minute, which for me is a pen. But the referee from where he was couldn't see. The referee was blocked.
Well, he has the line on, didn't he? The line's on.
Line will give it.
But the thing is, you know what it is? Maybe it looked harsh. And I mean, someone said it there, the current rules, it shouldn't be a penalty. The rules change that much. They asking question. He then speaks to his lino, which is what he should be doing. 5, 6 second delay, gives a penalty, then goes to VAR, getting checked. We can all moan about VAR. It'll go for you, it'll go against you. I don't think this is a massive VAR. If this 50-50 split, there'll be a lot more VAR decisions where it's 80-20. I don't think this is an absolute wrong decision. They'll argue it is. I've seen a lot of your fans in here saying it shouldn't have been a penalty. There'll be a lot of agendas with fans as well. There'll be some people in here who don't like Leeds still watching this now. There'll be a lot of agendas. For me, he's just leaned into it at last millisecond. It would have shot on target. If he's not in the way, he's got to make a save there as Pickford. What could happen at that point? The fact it's come like 25 yards is the biggie for me. I think he's had enough time there. I know it's coming through bodies, but ultimately, mate, we're going to have one go against us, if not more. So I aren't really bothered. I think we deserve the game on the balance of the play anyway. And like I say, it swings and roundabouts.
I mean, watching the game last night, I thought it was going to be a classic smash and grab from Everton. I thought first half, you were really good. You played really well, but just couldn't score in that final third. And I think when Everton came out in the second half and, looked to take control of the game a little bit better than what they were in the first half, they were coming to the game a lot more, but the penalty changed the game. It was a little bit similar to our game where in the first half, West Ham were the better side, then we came out and dominated in the second half. Yeah. But the penalty changed the game. But I feared for you because I just thought in that final third, you looked like you were struggling. I thought Dan James didn't get in the game very much at all last night, and the fullback had a decent game against them. I thought Garner played. Was it Garner that played for? I thought he had a decent game last night. But you got the job done, and at home, based on the games that you've got coming, you had to win last night. I think to get that up and running.
I think for us, mate, I think obviously a long season. I think more for Farker. I think if we'd have lost yesterday, there's still plenty of time. But I think we as fans, we've got 38 games for this season. Farker might not have. So if we'd have lost last night, then we go to Arsenal and get hiding, then we lose narrowly even to Newcastle. 3 games in, immediate pressures on him. But what I'll say is, I think first half, I think using the word a battering isn't enough really. I think we absolutely battered them first half. The stats suggested that it was. If that were a boxing match, they'd have thrown towel in after 30 minutes. We battered them.
They couldn't get out.
The intensity, the press, the intensity, the crowd fed into it. it was just we just bombarded them and they couldn't get out. And naturally, I said to blokes I was sat with, Moyes is going to get into it. Moyes is a smart manager, experienced. He's going to give him a hairdryer treatment. They're going to come out all firing, and they did. And they have talented players. You know, they've got the likes of Benitez and Grealish on as well, and players like that. And they were always going to have moments in the game. You can't dominate an established Premier League side as a newly promoted side for 90 minutes. So we knew they'd have a spell. They probably had a 25-minute spell where then they were on top. I don't think what I'll say is, Wayne, and you know, in the stadium, you know, you can feel nervous. I didn't feel nervous in the stadium. It never felt.
They never created very.
I didn't feel. But then people say we didn't create much, and as a fan base, a lot of people are saying we're lacking that, you know, cutting edge. But what I'll say is, Pirro, he's had a bit of stick for not having no shots or chances really yesterday. But like the way he dropped in the pockets and were linking play up, well, I thought he looked really cute, played really well, and I think Matty, when he come on, is exactly what you'd want from a big physical forward. I think he made himself busy. I actually thought we'd start with Matty, then bring Pirro on later on to get the goals. But I think Dan James was probably the poorest player for us. I think they marked him out of game. But our midfield three, look, I mean, it was a toss-up for man at match between any of them three. That combination there, obviously Longstaff stayed on bench. Longstaff and Gruev probably will stay on bench. In home games, I'd suggest, we want to be a bit more on front foot. Maybe away at Arsenal, Longstaff comes in for maybe a Tanaka, and we have a bit more of an engine in there where Tanaka's a bit more of a flair player and things like that. But Stack, mate, is one hell of a player. The problem is he's also his best set piece taker at the minute, which is a shame when he's 6'6", and you want him 6'6", and he's taking set pieces. So that needs to change. You know, we're signing Noah Okafor. That's had the here we go.
I was going to touch on that. I've seen that.
But like I think he can set pieces. So we need to bring someone in who can do that, so he can get it boxed and Stack. But all in all, mate, I think we deserve the 3 points. I definitely think we shaded it. And yeah, great start.
100%. Like I see it, based on the games you've got coming, I think that was important that you had to get that win. You know, it doesn't matter how you get them, a win's a win. You know, like what you said, that 100% you'll get them decisions go against you this season as well.
And I'll be on it. And I'll be on here moaning about it. What I'll say is as well, though, it's mad how things are on a knife edge. So it's 0-0 at that point. And as a Leeds fan, if you'd have told me in the Premier League we would have a situation where we've got Jack Harrison on left wing and Brendan Aronson on right wing in the Premier League now, I would have laughed at you or punched you. Like I wouldn't have been able to live in that world with him, right? And that's where we were on the 80th before we scored. And I'm looking at it thinking, we've played really well, the crowd's buzzing. I've got a good feeling about it. If they edge this 1-0, and we've got Ramazani on bench who hasn't touched grass. You know, James is now on bench, none of us gone off. And we end the game with Harrison and Aronson as his wingers, and we lose this game. Farke's going to be getting some right stick, and it's the worst possible start, even though the actual game was a decent game for Leeds United. Because we got that goal, a bit of luck, granted, put the penalty away. It's a totally different complexion. But on a knife edge, even though I'm feeling so happy, buzzing, we played really well. It's mad. The margins, mate. I know you've got a 3-0 win, but there'll be games this season where the margins are that close to being the other result.
Well, I mean, if they had scored that goal in the first half, it's a totally different game. You know, we gone 1-0 down, the atmosphere totally changes. It's a different game.
Yeah,
totally different game. That's just, you know, on them sort of fine margins. So 100%. 109 watching. We're on 90 likes. 10 more likes in the last 15 minutes. Go on, smash that. John Ruddock says, Wayne, it looks like Speakman is our new hero. Well, you know my thoughts on Speakman, John. I haven't been his biggest fan neither of you in recent months, but like I said at the minute, he's making me eat humble pie, and long may it continue. It's nice to be proved wrong, so long may it continue. Malcolm says, sorry, Wayne, it was never a penalty in a month of Sundays. Ball hit his hand, not the other way around. VAR should have overruled the decision. It's a one of them. If you get it, it's a penalty. If it's gone against you, it's never a penalty. It's a one of them. It's a one of them. At the end of the day, it's been given.
I'm not one of them fans, me, that kicks off either way. Really, like I'm quite laid back with it, because I know over 38 games it's gonna go. It's gonna go for us and against us, and I don't think that was. You might disagree, pal, on there, but I don't think that was such a wrong decision. It might maybe marginally a bit harsh, but I think it's a 50-50 split straight through. And when I'm watching Sky Sports and you've got Neville and Carragher both saying it's a pen, they know more about football than me, you, Wayne, all these guys. So, and girls,
Gary Neville said, what sort of me was talk off his face. He knew the guilt was written all over his face. He knew. End of the day, when you do that, you're running the risk anyway, aren't you? So,
of course you are.
Robin Hood, I think had the game ended in a draw, there'd still be a ton of positives to take away from the game. I think, if it had been a draw, it would have still been a decent performance and good signs for you. I think not the result you wanted, but it would have been still a good performance.
Yeah, no, well, let's be fair. We thought it was going to end up being 0-0. We get to like 84 minutes and it didn't look like we were creating nothing massive. I sort of thought, maybe it ends a draw. This, and it wouldn't have been a bad result. What you want to see is if you don't get the result you want. Obviously, the term hard to beat has come for us. That's everyone's saying hard to beat. So a 0-0 would have sort of rubber stamped that. But to sort of see the side come through a game that looked like it were going that way, it gives me even more confidence. People are saying, where's the goal's going to come from? They're still saying that one goal being a penalty, it don't look great, but we come through a game there that looked like it was going to be 0-0 and we got the 3 points win. So that gives me confidence that you've always got things to build on as well, and we'll be working hard on that the last few deals in transfer window to make sure we get more goals. It's their job.
Well, that's it. I think, listen to the Falk race yesterday, he's quite confident he will get 2 or 3 more players in as well. So I think I wouldn't be saying that on national telly if there wasn't something in the pipeline. So... we'll have to wait and see. But Mason Smith there says Leeds were very impressive the first half. I thought Tanaka was outstanding and Leeds fully deserved the win in the end. When you said Tanaka is a Premier League player anyway in the making.
It's mad. Played in Japan. Then when you think from Japan to Bundesliga 2, not even Bundesliga, from Bundesliga 2 to English, our second division, Championship, first game in Premier League, looked a Premier League player. Like, never played in the top division, mate. Look at him last night. Class side.
D Hall, Leeds XG was 2.14. Everton's what they are. What does that tell you?
There you go.
Goose Mav says Leeds played well, but still couldn't break down a very poor Everton side. Will be in the relegation scrap. I didn't know if they will be. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's an Adam because
you've just been saying they're going to be. They could be 9th and 19th. They're one of them teams where you just didn't know what you're going to get.
There's no way they're going to be in a relegation scrap for me when they've got, they're going to have Grealish on left and Dewsbury Hall in that 10. I think that they've got enough quality to be out of there. But what I'll say is we couldn't break them down. We're also in the middle of a formation change. We're now playing a 4-3-3. We've done that in pre-season, which it's working again. We win there. We haven't lost in pre-season. Hard to beat. When you're playing a 4-3-3, you're not gonna. You haven't got that number 10, that fancy player, that flair player cutting the lines. You're hoping one of your or both of your midfielders can sort of get forward and get an end of stuff. Which Stack had a couple of shots, so he's going to be in and around that box. But that cutting edge flair, maybe they haven't got that. We'll have to see. But I think, like I say, we've gone from a 4-2-3-1 where we were cutting teams open, and I still firmly believe if we played a 4-2-3-1 now, we'd maybe have more shots per game because we'd have that extra body, just behind striker. But naturally, it's a formation change and a lot of new bodies in there. Dan James was a little bit off it, and he's one of our main, threats down that right. If he's having a bad game, you're going down left or open, your midfield can get up a bit higher. But I don't think it's a thing with this. Joel Piddle, top scorer in the league last season. Both wingers got, I think, 10 goals last season or close to 10 goals. Dan James got 10 goals. Stack, Tanaka, there's goals in this team. I don't worry about it at all, but because we won by a penalty, I get the conversation this week, man.
Yeah. So what on about Willie Nonto there? So he didn't really get much game time last season, but he started last night. I mean, is that just because the Premier League suits him a bit better, or just because you're still waiting to get players in, and Solomon them's gone? Is that why he was kind of in the team last night?
A bit of both. As a fan base, we all think he'll do better in Prem, which sounds mental because he should have taught Championship, but I think he will play better in Prem. I've seen that before. The fact that we didn't re-sign Solomon, obviously Solomon were favoured to Nonto last season, and you can't argue with that decision because of what he did in getting goal that won us title. But yeah, mainly down to not having bodies in, not having the players in the areas fully that we want. Obviously, Noah Okafor's a left winger / striker, but mainly a left winger. I would assume him coming in for 18 million quid, he's going to be starting. Massive injury worries though for a lot of our new signings, Calvert-Lewin as well, which transport. There's a lot of players we've gambled on for either free transfers or decent fees, but the decent, 17 million for Okafor. When you look, he's had a decent career so far from Salzburg to AC Milan, went on loan to Napoli. He's mixing it with some decent players, decent teams there. But why have we got him for a decent tag when he's a talented player? Because he's got injury worries. He went out for 2 games with toothache. If you look at his injury list, which is honestly balmy, mate. Toothache made him miss 2 games, man. That worried me. I won't lie. I've had toothache and it hurts, but I'm a Jesse. But yeah, again, I think he comes in. maybe that means Nonto rides bench again. I'd like to think he comes in and it's competition, and hopefully Nonto can keep him out, and then he's got to work harder. A bit like you said there, we've got Biol as well in defence. He's a starter, everyone's saying, but Stroud played so well yesterday. Same as what you were saying. But like, for me, Biol will ride bench now at Arsenal. He's got to, because you can't take Stroud out on that. Right. So, yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, you can't really change a winning team. I mean, I know we've got the players now to be flexible and adaptable. So he might think he might think that Lafayette might be a better fit for the midfield against Brighton, because Brighton are going to for Burnley, because Burnley are going to sit deep. But you never know. But it's nice to have the luxury of them players to play different formations. I mean, but we'll quickly touch on the games coming up. So we got to Burnley, and if we didn't back that win up on Saturday, then it'll be disappointing for me. I'm expecting us to go in there and get a result at Burnley. I really am. But I watched the highlights of the Burnley game, and for long spells in that game, Burnley were all right. Spurs weren't 3 goals better than by any imagination. So it's not going to be as easy as people there. And if we go in there with the attitude we're just going to turn up and roll out with them, we'll get turned over.
Yeah,
you've got to come there with the right mentality. So I don't know what your thoughts are about what's going to Burnley, but me, I'm expecting us to go in there and get 3 points. With a better team against them twice last season. Should have beat them in both games. Obviously, because of what we spent compared to what they've spent, you would think the odds would be in our favour.
It's mad how your mindset shifts in it, because if you would have said you'd have 3 points at the end of the Burnley game out of the 6 available, you'd have probably been, that's all right, lost. You don't want to lose to West Ham, but lose one and you beat Burnley is what you'd have thought. But you wouldn't accept 3 points now, after Burnley. So it's shifted now with that great opening day against West Ham. But I don't see another outcome, mate. I mean, even if you go there and get a point, it's still a fantastic start. And, you can't lose that. But I would think that's what the best they can hope for Burnley is a 0-0 shithousery for me. But I think you've got goals in your team. You've proved that. So I expect you to get a couple of goals, Wayne, and I don't see them scoring more than one. So.
Aye, let's hope you're right. I mean, it's still not going to be an easy game. You've still got to go in there, like I said, with the right attitude. If you don't, then you get turned out. And we've done that loads of times when we're in League One. We've gone away at teams and thought we're going to steamroll them, and you end up getting beat. So
you're the easiest team. You're one of the easiest teams. Right? You're a newly promoted side, and they're at home, so they're targeting you as a must win for them to stay up. Sunderland home has to be a must win, just like Leeds will be. Yeah, of course it has. So
everybody down there has got to be beating each other, haven't they? Well, you've got to be beating them teams around you. I mean, a question for you: when we're both playing, are you secretly hoping we get beat? Because at the end of the day, to stay up, I mean, should we be rooting for each other to get beat every weekend?
It's a mad one, mate. Because I don't want to. It's a mad one. So I wanted you, when you went 1-0 up, I was like, get in. When you went 3-0 up, I was like, for fuck's sake. Like, genuinely, I'll be honest, mate. Because I was just like, oh my God, we've got to play Monday, and then I've got to do the show on Tuesday on Easter. Fuck's sake. And then obviously I was thinking, well, next week we might get battered by Arsenal, but it's on my channel, so it'll be a lot easier to take. But I was a little bit nervous about it. But again, I quite like how it's sort of, brought this little bit of a mini rivalry with transfers. It's been good for us, on it, because it's making both our viewers sort of tune in and drive up that bit of banter on here, which is brilliant. But yeah, I'll be honest, when you went 3-0 up, I was a bit like, because no matter what you say, I've got Sunderland fans in my chat, and even on my normal videos, which is great. Thanks for coming over and checking me out as well. But like, we had it last season when you were top of league, mate. You were 8 points in front of us at one point, and you were giving it big licks. And then I remember saying on one of our shows, like, you won't stay there. You'll drop down. You'll be in and around 4th, 5th, and I will prove them right. And again, I don't think you run away with yourselves, but a couple of them do, just like our Leeds fans do, mate. It's funny though. Funny. It is,
but see, it's a funny one. Like you say, we should do we just cheer for the team? It's like, I don't know.
You didn't think it was a pen. You didn't want it to be a pen. You were screaming at your TV. I know you were.
That's what I was like. There's never a penalty. Referee. What?
one more rallying cry. We've only got about 5 minutes left, guys. There's 108. 8 likes off 100. We're on 92. So thanks so much. That's class, that. But can we get it to 100, please?
Go on, you can do it. All them in the chat who haven't like, give it a smash. Yeah. So finally, Matty, big task at the weekend, Arsenal. Can you go down there and get something? Did you watch them? Did you watch them on Sunday against Man United?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, I don't think either side played brilliant, to be fair. I'm just happy they beat them. I'm really, really happy they beat Scum. But yeah, It's one of those, mate, right? So I spoke to a lot of people in ground yesterday, and happy now with 3 points. It's like 50-50. You got people absolutely shitting themselves, nervous, or other people, it's a free hit, it doesn't matter, we'll just go and have fun. I mean, I'm going with one of my mates, Danny, on coach with Gareth White, meeting at Spoons at 8:30, full day, won't get home till midnight. I haven't done like a London away day before, full day. I've had to wash up so many pots and walk dogs so many times this last few weeks, just so I can go to this game, mate. Especially after Dublin last weekend. But yeah, I'm buzzing for it. But I don't like the term free hit, right? I don't think the gulf is as big as they say. It is to the top sides, don't get me wrong, but it is just 11 men against 11 men. And I think the way football is now, I think there is way of nullifying these sides. There really is. You see your Bournemouths and your Fulhams and your Forest having really good seasons. Yeah, they've got good players, they've got great players to a degree, but the way you set your team up, if you get your tactics right, you can nullify these. Do I want us to go there and sit in a low block? You'd say no, I want us to go have a go. But there's certain games where maybe you've got to go and just be resolute and sitting there and maybe dropping Tanaka out, who were one of his best attacking players yesterday. Maybe banging a Longstaff in to be a bit more solid. Tweak things a little bit so you're not at risk of conceding 3 or 4 goals, which, as a Leeds United fan in Prem of recent times, we have been wide open and they've ran through us. So I feel the whole physical, strong, hard to beat, it looked good against Everton. This is the acid test now at Arsenal. And I understand, we expect nothing, so it free it and all that. But I don't go along with that notion. Are we good enough to go there and get a point? If we are as close to perfect on the day, yeah, of course we can. If they're slightly off it and we're on the money, maybe we can get some away. And so I'll always have that hope. But these are the games you should be excited for as a fan. When if you're dreading these games as a fan, what's the point of being? If you're looking forward to playing Burnley at weekend more than you are Arsenal, you might as well go back to Championship, lad, and watch them there, because that's what we were playing in Championship, shit like that. So if you're not excited for Arsenal away, Wayne, you didn't wrong game for me, pal.
So right, totally agree. Like you say, and you just got to enjoy it. You just got to enjoy them occasions, them away days, because we never know what's going to happen. There might not be any more next season, so you've just got to enjoy it. And like you say, you've only got to catch them on an off day. But
yeah, it can happen.
You've got to be adaptable. You kind of go in there and try, like we've said earlier on there about Southampton trying to play out from the back. You've got to play the game and play the right tactics to try and get something, not try and play them at the own game, because you do get battered and get beat. So
yeah, you do.
Anyway, we've just smashed 101 likes. 101 likes. Well done. Thank you very much, everybody. Nice one.
I'm looking for our predictions. We had some predictions, didn't we? I thought I wrote them down, but I can't find them.
I said 2-1.
Can't remember what I said. Probably not 1-0. I probably said 3-0, knowing me. That's what I say all the time at home.
TikTok was 3-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I said it on TikTok. I say 3-0 all the time.
How many beers you had on that before you
Still drunk after Dublin, mate. Yeah.
Still got Dublin beer in you, I think.
Are we going to do it for this one, Wayne? Are we going to do it for this one?
They are. Predictions for this weekend, there's on the screen. Go on, you go first. Arsenal away.
Look, I tell you that. I can't call it. I can't call us to lose. Especially when I'm going. I'm going to go 1-1.
To be fair, 1-1 draw there would be an absolutely fantastic result. If you can nick a point, I think in these games, the first goals make a difference. Like the game on Saturday, the first goal changed the game. Like, said if Ballard hadn't cleaned that one off the line, different game altogether. So the first goal is crucial.
I think if we just don't get humiliated, if you go and you I think I go on about momentum all the time, as I do. Momentum in results is one thing, but momentum in just the way the lads are playing is another. So you can go to Sunderland and lose, Arsenal lose 1 or 2-0, but have played well and just been outclassed on day. You still got that momentum then on a good performance going into Newcastle at home, which again, tough game, but you're at home. Maybe we can definitely get some at home at Newcastle, So for me, it's this performance probably over result in this. Don't get battered. Show a bit of pride and heart like you did against Everton, and what will be, will be. That's how I sort of look at it. But yeah, 1-1 for me.
That's it. You have to go in there and just hope for the best, don't you? But if you can put in a performance, then out can happen. Out can happen. For us at Burnley, I'm expecting that to get there and get a result. I think we'll have our new centre half in there already. I think we'll play based on what I saw at the weekend. He makes us even more solid than we have been. So I'm going to go for a 2-0. I think a nice solid 2-0 win will do me just fine. But a 1-0 in the last minute will do me just fine as well. But if we can get that win and make it back-to-back wins at the start, that would be a stuff of dreams. And then we've got Brentford the week after. There's a potential there to have 9 points out the first 3 games. And
I think you do win. I think you're on 9 points after Brentford. You definitely beat Brentford at home, and I think you beat Burnley 3-0. So I honestly don't think you conceded first three either. I think you sat near top of league on maybe a +8, +9 goal difference on 9 points. That's my prediction for you guys, and I don't think it'll be out else. 9 points.
I hope you're right. Right.
I think we'll be on 4 probably. I reckon we'll pick up one draw out of these next two. Maybe a win against Newcastle. We'll see how Arsenal goes, but I reckon you'll be 4 or 5 points in front of us in first 3 weeks, and you guys will be like, "You're going down, Leeds, and we're going get your passports."
Yeah, we've seen that somewhere before. We've seen that somewhere before.
We have, mate. Funny.
Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Thanks very much for everybody who's tuned in and joined and liked and commented. Sorry we didn't get all your comments on. There's been that many of the arguments on these shows, which is class. Really is class. Don't forget, head across to Matty's channel, Imagine Not Being Leeds. Give him a subscribe. He's doing really well. I think you're over 3,000 now, aren't you? Rocketing up.
Flying, mate. Like, yeah, that Dublin vlog got me quite a few. So, yeah, flying. Thank you so much, Wim.
Nice one. So, like I say, head across there. We'll be on Matty's channel next week. Hopefully, we've both picked up results. Fingers crossed. But don't forget to hit the like button if you keep on watching. Subscribe to my channel as well, only for us in SAFC. And we'll see you in the next video.
See you later, mate.
Are you ready for this?
From the stadium on Lights Ellen Road we stand. Red and white meets a Yorkshire band. North meets north with a rival twist. We clash, we joke, you get the gist. Bridging the